Signed a $4 million contract with Libya.
Don't be like Dobbin. Move with the times. Export and grow.
Well, viewers, welcome back this afternoon. What two lovely girls we had in just earlier. And thanks to all the people out there that have supported them in their quest. This afternoon we have with us again Jack Tree, who is the Shire President from Coolgardie Shire, and also, as we commonly known as the old camp, isn't it, Jack?
That's right, yes. It always will be too.
Yes. It's lovely to have you in, and you're here to talk to us about the big celebrations on the weekend, the 90th birthday of Coolgardie.
Yes, Coolgardie's 90th birthday. It is a big thing because when you look back on the history of Coolgardie and what it meant in those early days, you know, you can't afford to ignore the fact that 90 years ago Coolgardie came into existence, and we should remember it because there was so much given that meant so much at the time that we look back on it now and you say, oh, well, you know, what the hell. But it's a fact of life that you must recognise the enterprise that the old fellow showed in those days, and if you don't remember it in one way or another, the youth and today and the people of today will just simply forget about it.
We're not talking about men in the hundreds, are we? We're talking about men in the thousands that arrived on the goldfields.
That's right, and you'll find a good many of them still in Coolgardie in the cemetery, unfortunately, but that was the price they had to pay in those days. But what Coolgardie meant in those days was something that nobody would ever understand, because in the metropolitan area today, when you look around the metropolitan area and you think to yourself, well, what a colossal place Perth is, when you start looking at Perth in itself and realise that very little of that would be there if it hadn't been for Coolgardie or the goldfields.
That's right.
And, you know, I could argue about this all day if they wanted me to, but it is a fact of life that nearly everything in Perth today, every facility that they have, owes its existence to the Coolgardie or the Coolgardie goldfield.
Right, well that's true too, but that's another vein. Let's talk
Let's
talk about the celebrations,
Jack.
Jack.
That's my pet hobby horse, unfortunately.
Let's talk about the celebrations on the weekend. You know, what kind of things have we got offering? Well, and I believe there's lots and lots of prizes and lots of guests coming.
We're anticipating a good roll-up, but unfortunately it is a long weekend and there will be clashes. Well, the Royal Show, for instance, starts in Perth and the York Show starts too, and they're all a little bit concerned of the clash. But nevertheless, we selected the day mainly because we used to take the Sunday nearest to the 17th, which of course is the birthday, but the clash with the local football finals, and then the following one nearly always turned out to be wet and windy, so we went forward another week to see if we can get away from the wet and the wind. But we are anticipating a good roll-up, and this year we have a very smart gentleman looking after the float situation in Mick Cotter, and Mick has sent letters out to everybody asking them to put in floats in the parade, and we're anticipating a good parade this year.
You're getting floats from all business houses?
That's what we're trying to do. Even the Shire is giving their trucks where they can't use them to put in as floats, and that'll make a difference.
Floats are very popular, aren't they, Jack?
Oh yes, and we've got a prize for the best float and a prize for the best decorated bicycle, and we're anticipating that people will make the effort to put floats into the parade. The parade is the important part of the ceremony because that's where it begins.
The excitement mounts up, doesn't it?
Yes, and then we're going back to the park this year. Last year we had it in our new oval, which was a little bit too windy and a bit too big. So this year we're going back into our park, and there is quite a lot of stalls have been booked, or places have been booked, and we have a couple of new ones this year when we have a family moves into the town that are started to make their presence felt. They've opened up a florist, and they're going to have a float in the parade with nursery plants and all that sort of thing. And one of the smart things about it, the old jail in Coolgardie is going to be opened up as an afternoon tea house, a Devonshire tea house.
That's the first time it's been opened, Jack?
It was opened once before by a Golden Fleece service station, but it didn't succeed because they didn't try hard enough.
Oh,
you know, when you're going to buy a cup of tea and you want to buy a cup of tea, you don't expect tea bags and paper cups, and that's what happened. That these people are doing it properly, and they're talking about Devonshire teas, you know, scone, strawberry jam and cream, and I've got a weakness for scone, strawberry jam and cream.
That sounds really great, doesn't it? Because an old jail will add a great atmosphere for a Devonshire tea.
Well, the thing is that they're doing it right. They're not going to improve the jail. They're leaving it as is with the graffiti on the walls and holes in the floors, and but they'll make the tea room themselves really
the ball
smart,
and chains for the people to keep them there.
So that's one little change. The rock drillers, of course.
Jack, just back on that. That's going to remain open. It's not open just for the day?
Oh no, it'll remain open.
Oh,
but
great.
It'll be a bit makeshift for this weekend because they're getting it all prepared this week, and they're going to borrow tables and crockery and all that sort of thing. But it will.
It's going to be an ongoing shop.
It will be an ongoing shop.
That means another shop in Coolgardie opening.
Oh yes, yes, and it'll be one much needed too, I think, because of the buses coming through. Do you know? Getting away from this just a little bit, there's at least 8 buses a day go through Coolgardie.
That's
and
fantastic.
that's the normal bus routes. It's not the tour buses and the charter buses. And
They're extras, aren't they?
The traffic is really building up at the moment, and hopefully it'll keep on.
Jack, you've got a big gymkhana also for the
yes,
weekend?
the gymkhana goes for 2 days, and you know, you've given all due respect to these people. They're fantastic, the Gymkhana Club. They started off virtually with nothing. And although they were given land by the Shire and a few posts and that, they did everything themselves. They didn't ask for help, and they didn't need any help. They just did it. And there were 95 horses in town at one stage there with the kids all in the Gymkhana Club, and it's really a fantastic club.
They go about it their own way, don't they? Even in Coolgardie and Boulder, the whole lot of them, they go about it, they organise it, they are well organised, and they just step in and fill a beautiful space and really great horsemanship.
Well, the Gymkhana Club is part of Coolgardie now. It's become an institution that, you know, when you look at Coolgardie, you look at the Gymkhana Club, and they bring their horses from everywhere, from down Esperance and down Calabarra, and they all come in.
You've also got rock drilling?
Rock drilling this year is going to be really big, and the prize money is fairly good too. There's $500 from the Swan Brewery Company for a start. And
perhaps that's to try and compensate for closing our brewery down up here.
Oh, no, it was going last year. They gave us $500 last year, but the brewery, it is a shame that closed, but nevertheless, it's one of those things that happened.
They give good donations, don't they?
Oh yes, Swan Brewery's always been a good supporter. In fact, they were the people that sponsored the first camel race. And
we haven't got camels.
No, unfortunately, we've got a clash of personalities there, and when you talk about camels, unless you've got a competition, you really haven't got anything to show. And unless you can bring camels in from outside the region, if you know, bring them in where there's other trainers and other men and other types, and put up a genuine race, you haven't really got anything. And unfortunately, the camels that we have in Coolgardie, or the camel man, is a little bit difficult to get on with. And
that's a shame, because that's a great draw card. It's more or less associated with Kalgoorlie, isn't it? Sorry, Coolgardie. Well, the goldfields, because they were the ships of the desert.
Coolgardie days right back as far as 1930, I can read about a man named Penglaze who fell off his camel outside the Denver City Hotel during a race and broke his leg. So, you know, camels have been part and parcel of Coolgardie days for a long, long time.
And for the kiddies' participation, what's actually there for the kiddies?
Kiddies have got decorated bicycles, and they'll be in the parade, and they'll be doing all sorts of fancy things.
Can they just bring their bicycle down on the day, or do they have to have it entered in?
No, they can bring it down on the day and enter the parade. Somebody will be standing up in the truck, most likely be a galah like me, that will pick out somebody that I like best, or will do best, because I don't see so well unless we buy bifocals in the sun. But we'll pick out one that looks nice and one that's put a bit of effort in. I believe in these things that the one that puts the most effort in it is the one that really ought to win prizes. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't believe
their faces all beam and everything, don't they? They get on their proud little bike that they've been decorating.
It's a good thing to get the kids involved, because it is a kids' day, really. It's something for the people to do.
They're the people of the future too, and if you want them to remember Coolgardie, you know, and the days of time passed by, and that you've got to bring the children into it very young.
That's right, but the change of circumstance, it has made us change our Coolgardie Day. You see, going back, say, 8 or 9 years ago, when we had kindergartens, we had the convent working, we had the CWA and all that needed finance. It was a matter of raising money, and so we used to run the Coolgardie Day, and even with only a couple of thousand people, there'd be $1,600 or $1,700 profit, and everybody get a couple of $100. But now all those things are gone. The kindergarten's gone, the convent's gone, and the CWA is active in their own way, but with Kalgoorlie and Boulder. And so nowadays there's no need for any great fundraising activities, and so they do their own thing.
Just as well, Jack, because I should imagine overhead in that type of a thing is quite fantastage too these days.
Yes, well,
to put on a celebration as great as you're putting on.
It costs the Tourist Bureau somewhere around $3,000 to stage a back to Coolgardie Day, and that money's got to be got back. And they get a fair amount of that back by charging a small amount of money for stall places in the park. But the actual money that they raise to for charity or anything else is not a lot. The one that comes out winning most would be the Lions Club that won the ball on the Saturday night, and that's a real classic, and you've got to give the Lions Club...
That's on the Saturday preceding the Sunday celebrations.
That'll be the Saturday night, and that used to be a fundraising one for a Miss Australia entrant, but then for a couple of years we never had a Miss Australia entrant, and so it became a Lions Club function.
Jack, are the tickets sold out for that? The ball on Saturday night?
Well, I don't know whether it was sold out, but they'd get a good innings.
Oh, right. So people can still, you know, hopefully...
I haven't got my ticket yet.
Well, hopefully that you can get your ticket and a few people can get along to their Saturday night. That's in period costume, I believe.
They're going, the theme is the 1890s, and there will be prizes for the best 1890s. And I think it'll be successful, but then anything the Lions Club touches is successful. They seem to be fantastic organisers. They seem to know what they're doing, they know what they want, and they get the results.
Well, thanks, Jack. It sounds like Coolgardie's going to be successful, and let's hope that you get all those people back to the old camp for the weekend, and it is the success that we're hoping for in Coolgardie, and you know, everything goes well for the people out in Coolgardie, and I hope the people out on television land out there watching will get down there on Sunday.
Well, what we're praying for is a bit of fine weather.
That's right.
So you might
most important. Yes, we'll certainly get Cannon Watts in.
No problem. Thanks very much for having me.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks. Right, viewers, we'll be back in a little while.
You're about to see a new domestic vacuum cleaner that's totally unique. It's called